Have you ever felt it? That quiet, persistent whisper of a calling, a subtle yet undeniable pull towards something more, something greater than the life you are currently living. Have you ever sensed a vast, untapped potential lying dormant within you, only to find yourself paralyzed by an invisible, suffocating force? It's a feeling known to millions, a silent ache in the soul of humanity. What if I told you that the life you secretly, almost shamefully dream of, the one filled with passion, purpose, and profound fulfillment, is not just a whimsical fantasy? What if it is not just possible, but is in fact a tangible reality, patiently waiting for you just on the other side of a barrier you, and you alone, have built? Every single day, countless people around the globe wake up to the jarring sound of an alarm clock, beginning a ritual of robotic motion. They go through the motions of a life they did not consciously choose, a script written by societal expectations, parental pressures, and their own deep-seated fears. They work at jobs that drain their spirit, engage in conversations that lack substance, and return home only to numb their minds with passive entertainment. They go to bed with a quiet, gnawing sense of dissatisfaction, a hollow feeling in the pit of their stomach, having convinced themselves that this monotonous cycle is all there is to life. They have accepted a reality defined not by their aspirations, but by their limits, not by their courage, but by their anxieties, not by their boundless potential, but by the nagging, persistent feeling that they are missing out on the grand adventure of their own existence. This is not just another passage in another book. This is your moment. This is a crossroads. The insights that are about to unfold before you are not just abstract ideas or motivational platitudes. They are the practical, powerful keys to systematically dismantling the self-imposed prison of fear. They are the tools you need to finally unlock the magnificent destiny you were always meant to live. To read these words and do nothing is to make a conscious choice. It is to choose the familiar, predictable comfort of your cage over the terrifying yet boundless freedom of your own inherent power. The choice, as always, is yours, and it starts not tomorrow, not next week, but right now. The monster in the mirror. We often speak of fear as if it were an external enemy, a predatory monster lurking in the shadows of the world, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce and devour our dreams. We imagine it as a dragon guarding the treasure, a storm on the horizon, a force outside of ourselves that we must battle. But the most terrifying, the most insidious, and the most destructive monster you will ever face is not out there. It is the one we create, nurture, and sustain within the confines of our own minds. The old masters of human psychology and spiritual wisdom understood this perfectly. They encapsulated this profound truth in a simple yet powerful acronym for fear. For alls. Vidence. A peering. Real. Let that sink in. False. Evidence. Appearing. Real. It is a phantom, a ghost woven from the delicate threads of our own imagination. It is a story we tell ourselves, built upon a foundation of past failures, anticipated rejections, and imagined catastrophes. Yet, despite its illusory nature, we grant this phantom godlike power. We allow it to dictate the course of our lives, to veto our ambitions, and to chain us to a life of mediocrity. Think about how this monster is constructed. The false evidence is a single past business failure that you now project onto every future opportunity, concluding, "I'm just not good at business." It's the memory of one person laughing at your idea, which you extrapolate into the evidence that the entire world will mock you. It is a mosaic of cherry-picked negative data points, glued together with the adhesive of self-doubt. And how does it appear real? Through the power of emotion and repetition. You think the fearful thought and your body reacts. Your heart races, your palms sweat, your stomach churns. This visceral physical reaction feels intensely real, and your mind mistakes the physiological response for proof that the threat itself is real. You have created a feedback loop of terror. You build this monster, you feed it with your attention and your belief, and you make it so solid, so imposing in your mind that it feels more real and more powerful than your own dreams. This is the great silent tragedy of human potential, that we become prisoners of our own illusions, paralyzed by shadows we ourselves have cast. The very first, most crucial and non-negotiable step toward freedom is to stop looking for the monster in the world and to recognize the architect of your fear. It's you. You are the storyteller, the filmmaker, the director of this horror movie playing in your head. But do not despair in this realization, for in it lies your ultimate power. If you have the creative power to build this prison of fear, you hold the even greater divine power to dismantle it, brick by imaginary brick. Your entire life begins to transform in the very moment you stop fighting the shadows on the wall and find the courage to turn around and face the light within. Curating your consciousness. If fear is a raging fire, then the daily indiscriminate consumption of information is the gasoline you pour on it. To starve the monster, to extinguish the flames of anxiety and doubt, you must consciously and deliberately go on a strict mental diet. This is not a suggestion, it is a prerequisite for a life of purpose and power. You must begin by consciously turning off the relentless 24/7 drip feed of negativity, outrage, and despair that masquerades as staying informed. The news media, by its very nature, thrives on crisis, conflict, and catastrophe. Its business model is to capture your attention through fear. Consuming it mindlessly is like trying to stay healthy by eating nothing but junk food. It will make your mind sick, anxious, and weak. Furthermore, you must learn to turn a deaf ear to the pervasive chorus of cynics, critics, and complainers who populate so much of our social and professional environments. These are people who have given up on their own dreams and now find a perverse sense of comfort in shared misery. Understand this, their pessimism is a highly contagious virus, and if you expose yourself to it, it will seep into the very fabric of your reality, convincing you that your dreams are naive and your hopes are foolish. Instead of being a passive consumer of mental garbage, you must become a master curator of your own consciousness. You must actively, deliberately, and relentlessly recondition your mind for success, courage, and optimism. This is not a one-time fix. It is a daily practice. Start attending workshops and seminars that focus on personal growth and empowerment. Seek out mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. Transform your car, your commute, your workout time into a university on wheels by immersing yourself in empowering audio programs, podcasts, and audiobooks. Fill your mind with the stories of those who overcame impossible odds, the strategies of high achievers, and the philosophies of the world's greatest thinkers. Faith, confidence, and courage are not virtues that are born in a vacuum. They are mental muscles that are built and strengthened through repetition. As the ancient text says, faith comes by hearing and hearing and hearing again. You must hear the messages that empower you, that build you up, that expand your sense of what is possible over and over again until they drown out the voices of doubt, both internal and external. You are literally rewiring your brain, creating new neural pathways that make hope, not fear, your default setting. You must be prepared, for this journey of conscious self-creation will make you seem strange, even alien, to the world around you. In a society where complaining about the weather, the government, or the traffic is a primary form of social bonding, genuine, unironic happiness is a radical and often suspicious act. Walk around with a smile on your face, with a palpable energy of purpose, and watch how people react. They will look at you as if you're a bizarre creature from another planet. They are trapped in the mundane, soul-crushing cycle of another Monday morning, fueled by caffeine and complaints, because they have not yet discovered the life-giving force of their own purpose. They are, on some deep level, hurting, and so they unconsciously want others to hurt with them. It validates their own inaction. Do not let their misery dim your light or drag you back into the bucket. Your joy, your focus, your drive, these are not just for you. They are a testament to the fact that a different way of living is possible, and your light is the greatest shield you can wield against the negativity of the world. Keep a journal and a pen by your bed. This is not a quaint suggestion. It is a critical tool for success. It is said that we each get 3 to 4 thoughts a year that, if acted upon, could fundamentally and irrevocably change our lives for the better. These multi-million-dollar ideas often come not in the boardroom, but in the quiet, liminal moments, in the shower, on a walk, or in the stillness just before sleep. If you are not prepared to capture them, they will evaporate like morning mist, lost forever. Your journal is the butterfly net for these fleeting, brilliant ideas. It is your private sanctuary for mapping out your future and conversing with your higher self. The hunger that destroys fear. When you allow yourself to be immobilized by fear, the fear of failure, the fear of rejection, the fear of the unknown, you are not just putting your dreams on hold. You are engaging in a slow, insidious, and deeply personal form of self-abuse. You become your own saboteur, your own assassin, unconsciously working against your own happiness and success around the clock. You become your own worst enemy, whispering the very words of discouragement into your own ear that you would never tolerate from another. So how do you break this tragic cycle of self-sabotage? You cannot simply wish the fear away. You cannot reason with it. You must overwhelm it. You must cultivate a hunger for your dream that is so deep, so ravenous, and so all-consuming that it literally starves the fear to death, leaving no room for it to breathe in your mind. Your desire for your purpose, your why, must become more powerful, more urgent, and more real than your fear of the obstacles. This kind of hunger is not a mere preference or a casual interest. It is a burning, non-negotiable obsession. It's the force that gets you out of bed 2 hours before you have to and keeps you working long after everyone else has gone home. This hunger will give you a special kind of drive, a relentless momentum that pushes you past the nagging voice of self-doubt. It will compel you to work on yourself, to develop new skills, to read the books, to make the calls, to face the rejections. It will force you to finally acknowledge and activate the true power that lies dormant within you. This is not hyperbole. It is a miracle-working power, a creative capacity to bring about profound and lasting change that you already possess. You just need a why big enough to unleash it. Consider the powerful story of an anthropologist who traveled deep into the jungles of Africa to study a notorious tribe of headhunters. For months, he made absolutely no progress. He lived in a state of constant, low-grade terror, crippled by the paralyzing fear that they would misunderstand his intentions and kill him. His fear was a scent that they could smell, a wall between him and them. He was ineffective, his research stalled, and his life's work was on the verge of failure. One night, lying in his tent, drenched in a cold sweat, he confronted his terror head-on. He asked himself 2 questions. First, what did I truly come here to do? The answer was clear: to complete this research, to make a contribution to human understanding, to fulfill his mission. Second, what is the absolute worst thing that could possibly happen to me? The answer was equally clear: death. In that profound moment of clarity, in the heart of the jungle, he accepted it. He made a decision. He decided that his life's work, his mission, his purpose was more important to him than his life itself. He surrendered his attachment to survival. He let go of the fear. The very next day, he walked into the tribal village with a completely new energy, a calm, centered, and profound fearlessness. The tribesmen, who can sense fear and weakness like predatory animals, responded immediately to this shift. They saw no threat, only a man of quiet strength and conviction. They welcomed him, opened up to him, and shared their culture with him. His research became a landmark success, a cornerstone of his field for decades to come. Years later, when asked how he managed to achieve the impossible, he shared a truth that can liberate anyone who truly grasps it. When life can no longer threaten you with death, what else is there? Now think about the fears that hold you captive. The fear of asking for a raise, of starting a business, of speaking in public, of being rejected by someone you love. These are almost certainly not matters of life and death. We are the ones who inflate them, who grant them monstrous proportions, who give them the power to govern our lives. Your hunger for your dream, a hunger so profound you would metaphorically die for it, must be your liberation. Find a reason, a purpose, a why that is bigger than your fear, and your fear will have no choice but to bow before it. Marx as the unshakable law of commitment. The universe, in its infinite wisdom and power, does not respond to wishful thinking. It does not bend to casual interest or half-hearted attempts. The universe responds to unshakable, unequivocal, and relentless commitment. It rearranges itself to support the will of the man or woman who refuses to be denied, who has burned their boats and left no room for retreat. I learned this profound lesson not in a classroom or from a book, but from the cold, hard reality of knocking on doors as a young salesman. My mother, the woman who gave me life, was ill and unable to work. The responsibility of providing for her, of putting food on our table, fell squarely on my shoulders. I had a daily quota of televisions I had to sell to make ends meet. Some nights, I would be out until 10, 11, even 1 in the morning, facing a relentless barrage of rejection. No thank you. We're not interested. Get away from my door. The temptation to give up, to go home defeated and exhausted, was immense. But I would not go home. I could not go home until I had met my goal. My commitment to my mother's well-being was absolute. I would just keep going, fueled by a love and a responsibility that was infinitely bigger than my exhaustion, my sore feet, or my fear of the next slammed door. And a fascinating, almost mystical thing would happen. Late at night, when it seemed all hope was lost, I would knock on one last door, and the person who answered would say, "You know, it's funny you're here. Our television just broke this afternoon. Come on in." This is a fundamental principle of life that too few understand. When you put yourself in a position where you declare with every fiber of your being, "I am going to do this, come what may," period, you activate a different set of laws. You enter another zone of existence. The right people, the right resources, the right ideas, they begin to show up as if summoned by your resolve. Your commitment sends a powerful signal to the world, and the world responds in kind. This isn't just a principle for personal goals. It is the fundamental force that has shaped the entirety of human history. When John F. Kennedy stood before the world in 1961 and declared that America would put a man on the moon and return him safely to the earth before the end of the decade, it wasn't a suggestion or a hopeful wish. It was an unshakable commitment. That commitment galvanized a nation, unleashed unprecedented innovation, and made the impossible a reality. When a small group of scientists committed their entire lives, their fortunes, and their reputations to eradicating the scourge of polio, it ceased to be an incurable plague and became a conquered memory. Every great leap forward for humanity, every freedom we enjoy, every right we take for granted, is the direct result of someone, somewhere, at some point in time, making a commitment and saying, "Whatever is required of me, I will do it. Even if it costs me my reputation, my comfort, my fortune, or my very life, here I stand, for I can do no other." Commitment is the ultimate act of standing up for your life. It is the decision to honor the unique gifts and talents that have been placed within you. It is a profound recognition of your oneness with the creative forces of the universe and an absolute refusal to short-circuit that incredible power with fear, envy, apathy, or excuses. We give up on ourselves far too easily. We say, "It's too hard," forgetting that there is nothing on this planet as powerful, as resilient, or as resourceful as the challenged human spirit. Make the commitment, draw the line in the sand, and watch as the universe conspires to help you. The power of your personal word. As you embark on this transformative journey, you will be bombarded with advice, opinions, and criticism from all sides. Your most essential and challenging task will be to learn to trust yourself above all others. You must cultivate the ability to listen to that still, small, quiet voice within you, for it knows the path. That inner voice, your intuition, is your direct connection to a wisdom that transcends logic and reason. Not everything in life that is true can be explained by a spreadsheet or a rational argument. Some of the most profound truths are felt, not thought. I once gave the single worst speech of my entire life because I violated this sacred rule. I allowed someone else's fear to infect and override my own inner knowing. I was scheduled to speak at a major university, and because I had never gone to college myself, I carried a deep-seated and painful inferiority complex. I felt like a fraud, a well-meaning but tragically misguided person in my circle, sensing my insecurity, convinced me that my own words and my own story were inadequate for such an esteemed academic audience. He offered to write a sophisticated, intellectual speech for me. In a moment of weakness and self-doubt, I agreed. I stood on that massive stage, under the bright lights, a typed script trembling in my hands. I was tense, disconnected, and utterly inauthentic. I wasn't speaking, I was reading. My eyes were glued to the page, reciting words that were not my own, conveying a message that did not come from my heart. I had given my power away. The audience could feel it. The speech was a failure, and I felt a shame that was deeper than any fear I had before. I vowed in that moment, with every ounce of my being, to never, ever do that again. Your dream was given to you and to you alone. It is your unique vision, your sacred assignment. You do not need anyone else's approval, permission, or validation to pursue it. If they cannot see your vision, it is not because your vision is flawed. It is because it was not given to them to see. It is your baby. You must nurture it, protect it from the cold winds of cynicism, and work on it diligently and privately until it is strong enough to be brought into the world in its glorious fruition. This fierce internal trust must be matched by an unwavering external integrity. To build a life of substance, a life of meaning and success, you must keep your agreements, starting with the agreements you make with yourself. Do what you know in your heart is right, not just what is easy or convenient. Treat people with the respect and dignity you wish for yourself. Resist the powerful, seductive temptation to take shortcuts, to cut corners, or to achieve success at the expense of others. Remember this: the universe keeps a perfect, incorruptible ledger. You can pay your dues up front with honest effort, discipline, and integrity, or you will inevitably pay double or even triple on the back end with regret, consequence, and the loss of your self-respect. What goes around truly does come around. The true, unvarnished measure of your character is not what you do when the spotlight is on you and people are watching. It is what you do when nobody is looking. It's the extra effort you put in when the boss isn't there, the honest answer you give when a lie would be easier, the kindness you show to someone who can do nothing for you in return. Build your life and your network with people who live by this same code, people whose word is their bond, people you can count on and who can count on you. This foundation of integrity is not just a moral principle, it is a strategic advantage. It creates an unshakable platform for your life and your dreams, one that cannot be eroded by the changing tides of fortune. The unseen path to your destiny. As you commit to this new way of being, as you work diligently toward your dream, I want you to hold this one truth in the core of your being, to know it with a certainty that rivals the rising of the sun. There is some good in this universe that has your name written on it. There is a business, an opportunity, a relationship, a contribution that is destined for you, and nobody on this planet can get your stuff. It is yours by divine right. When you truly and deeply understand this, your entire mode of operation shifts from a place of desperate scarcity to one of calm, confident abundance. You stop worrying that someone will steal your idea. You stop feeling threatened by the success of others. You stop scrambling and competing in a fearful panic. You understand that the universe is infinitely abundant and that whatever you are seeking is also at this very moment seeking you. This allows you to relax, to trust the process, to listen to your inner voice, and to always take the high road, even when the low road seems faster and easier. You can afford to be generous, to be collaborative, to celebrate the wins of others, because you know their success takes nothing away from your own. Finally, as you walk this path, remember the 3 essential pillars that will support you through every storm and every challenge. You must be patient, you must be persistent, and you must be positive. You must be patient. You live in a world of instant gratification, but true success and fulfillment do not work that way. A dream is like a mighty oak tree, not a mushroom. It takes time to grow strong roots. There will be seasons of doubt, long periods where it feels like nothing is happening despite your best efforts. Patience is the faith that allows you to continue watering the seed in the dark, trusting that growth is happening beneath the surface. It is the wisdom to endure the necessary seasons of your own development. You must be all persistent. This is the engine of your success. There will be obstacles that seem insurmountable, rejections that sting, and failures that will tempt you to quit and retreat to the comfort of your old life. Persistence is the force that says, yes, that hurt, but I'm getting back up. It is the water that wears away the stone, not through brute force, but through relentless, steady application. It is the commitment to take one more step, make one more call, try one more time, long after the initial enthusiasm has faded, and through it all, you must remain resolutely positive. This is not about a naive, Pollyanna-ish denial of reality. It is a strategic, disciplined choice to control your focus. It is the practice of holding the clear, unwavering vision of your success in your mind, regardless of what your current circumstances may look like. It is the conscious decision to focus on the lesson in every failure, the opportunity in every obstacle. A positive mindset is a magnet for positive outcomes. Luck is not some random mystical event that befalls a chosen few. Luck is the predictable, consistent meeting point of preparation, the work you do on yourself, persistence, the work you do on your dream, and a positive mindset, the faith you hold in the outcome. This is your life. It is not a dress rehearsal. The power to create a masterpiece has been placed in your hands. Embrace this journey with boundless courage. Build your life with unshakable integrity. And know with every fiber of your being that you already have within you everything you will ever need to create the magnificent life you were born to live. The choice is yours. The time is now.